Listen closely to every word I am about to say, because this information was the catalyst that completely overhauled my life. I am referring to that specific instant where everything finally made sense. It was the moment I transitioned from being just another person struggling to survive to becoming the individual you see before you today. A multi-millionaire, a seasoned investor, and someone who has constructed companies from the ground up and sold them for hundreds of millions of dollars. I am going to reveal the singular rule, the one principle that facilitated all of that success. However, before I divulge that, I require a commitment from you. If you are genuinely serious about generating income, if you truly want to cease being broke and begin constructing legitimate wealth, then press that subscribe button immediately. Join this community because we are building something significant here, and I need you to be a part of it. What I am about to teach you is something the vast majority of people will never comprehend. Most will watch this, nod in agreement, and then immediately return to making the exact same errors that keep them in poverty. Do not be that person. Let me take you back to the beginning. I was not born into wealth, nor did I inherit a trust fund. My mother was a small business owner who worked tirelessly until her fingers were raw. She instilled a lesson in me very early on. She told me that money does not care about your feelings. Money does not care if you are exhausted, if you are afraid, or if you believe you deserve a break. Money responds to only one thing, and that is discipline. However, I did not truly grasp the weight of her words until much later in life. I spent years during my 20s and 30s grinding, working incessantly, and trying to build something of value. I made every mistake you can possibly imagine. I placed my trust in the wrong individuals. I invested in businesses that had zero probability of generating a profit. I wasted precious time on projects that made me feel good emotionally, but did not put a single dollar into my pocket. I was incredibly busy, but I was not rich. That is when the realization hit me. I was sitting in my office one night, analyzing my bank account and my business, and I realized I had been playing the game incorrectly. I had been operating under the false assumption that if I simply worked hard enough, if I cared deeply enough, and if I believed in myself enough, the money would eventually arrive. That is absolute garbage. That is the narrative broke people tell themselves to feel better about their lack of funds. The truth, the harsh reality that nobody wants to hear, is that you do not become wealthy by working hard. You become wealthy by working smart. Working smart requires understanding the one rule I am about to share with you. Are you ready? The rule is this: money is the only thing that matters in business. Not your passion, not your dreams, and certainly not how you feel about what you are doing. It is all about the money. That is the rule. Now, before you rush to type angry comments calling me cold, heartless, or greedy, allow me to explain what I mean. When you truly understand this rule, and when you allow it to dictate every single decision you make, it will transform your life. It will make you wealthier than you ever imagined possible, and it will prevent you from wasting years of your life chasing endeavors that will never provide a return on investment. You see, most people approach business completely backward. They begin with an idea they love. They start with something they are passionate about. They say things like, "I have always wanted to open a bakery," or "I love fashion, so I will start a clothing line," or "I am really into fitness, so I will become a personal trainer." My response to that is simple. Who cares? Who cares what you love? Who cares what you are passionate about? The only question that holds any weight is whether or not it will make money. I do not care how much you love your business. If it does not generate cash, it is not a business. It is merely an expensive hobby. And hobbies do not make you rich. They make you broke. I learned this lesson the hard way. Early in my career, I involved myself in projects simply because they excited me. I thought they were cool, interesting, or fun. The result was that I lost money. I wasted time. I was spinning my wheels while smarter people were out there building real wealth. It was not until I completely shifted my mindset and started asking the only question that matters that everything changed. That question is, where is the money? With every single decision I make, I ask that question. Should I invest in this company? Where is the money? Should I dedicate time to this project? Where is the money? Should I hire this individual? Where is the money? It sounds simple, and it is simple. But simple does not mean easy. The problem is that most people cannot handle this rule. They cannot handle the concept that money comes first. They want to believe that if they just follow their heart and do what they love, the money will naturally follow. I am here to tell you that is a lie. That is a fairy tale that broke people tell themselves. Money does not follow your passion. Money follows value. Money follows solutions. Money follows results. If you want to get rich, you must stop thinking about what makes you happy and start thinking about what makes money. I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, but don't you have to enjoy what you do? Don't you have to care about your work? My answer is, sure, it is great if you enjoy it. But that is a bonus. That is the cherry on top. It is not the foundation. The foundation is always money. Let me tell you what I am truly passionate about. I am passionate about not being broke. I am passionate about financial freedom. I am passionate about having options. Do you know what provides all of that? Money. Not your feelings and not your dreams. Money. Let me provide an example. When I started my first real company, I did not start it because I loved the product. I started it because I saw an opportunity to make money. I identified a gap in the market. I saw something people needed and were willing to pay for, and I built a business around that need. Did I wake up every morning excited to go to work? Not always. Some days were boring. Some days were frustrating. But I did it anyway because I kept my eye on the prize. The prize was not feeling fulfilled. The prize was building something valuable, something I could sell, something that would make me rich. That is exactly what happened. I sold that company for millions of dollars, and let me tell you, that felt pretty good. This is the mindset shift you must make. You have to stop asking, what do I love? And start asking, what will people pay for? You must stop thinking about your passion and start thinking about profit. At the end of the day, the market does not care about your passion. The market does not care about your personal story. The market only cares about one thing. Can you solve my problem? Can you give me something I need? Can you deliver value? If you can do that, the market will pay you. If you cannot, the market will ignore you. It is that simple. Here is where it gets interesting, and where this rule truly demonstrates its power. When you make money your number one priority, and when you let that guide every decision, something amazing happens. You start making better choices. You start seeing opportunities that other people miss. You start building businesses that actually function, rather than businesses that just make you feel good. Over time, those businesses start to compound. They begin to grow. Before you know it, you are not just making money, you are making serious money. The kind of money that changes your life. I am going to explain exactly how this works. I will break down the specific ways I use this rule every single day to evaluate deals, build companies, and invest in entrepreneurs. I will show you how you can apply this same rule to your own life, whether you are starting a business, climbing the corporate ladder, or just trying to figure out your next move. But first, you need to understand something crucial. This rule only works if you are willing to be honest with yourself, brutally honest. Most people are not. Most people lie to themselves every single day about why they are not making money. They tell themselves stories. They make excuses. They blame the economy, their boss, or their circumstances. The real reason they are not making money is that they are not willing to do what it takes. They are not willing to make the hard choices. They are not willing to put money first. Let me tell you what happens on Shark Tank. I sit in that chair and listen to entrepreneurs pitch their businesses. Do you know what I see over and over again? I see people who are in love with their product. They are in love with their idea. They are in love with their story. Yet, when I ask them the most important question, when I ask, "What are your numbers? What are your sales? What is your profit margin?" they stumble. They fumble. They give me excuses. They say, "Well, we are still building the brand," or "We are focused on customer acquisition right now," or "We believe in the long-term vision." Do you know what I say? I am out. Because if you cannot show me the money, if you cannot prove to me that this business generates cash, then I do not care how good your story is. I do not care how much you believe in it. It is worthless to me. This is where most people get it wrong. They think business is about having a great idea. It is not. Business is about execution. It is about turning that idea into revenue. It is about making sales. It is about profit. I have seen terrible ideas make millions of dollars because the person behind them understood how to sell. Conversely, I have seen brilliant ideas go absolutely nowhere because the entrepreneur was too busy being an artist and not enough of a business person. The market rewards results, not intentions. Here is the part that really separates the winners from the losers. When you understand that money is the only thing that matters, you start making decisions differently. You start cutting out all the noise. You start eliminating everything that does not contribute to the bottom line. This is where people get uncomfortable because suddenly you have to fire the friend who is not performing. You have to stop spending money on things that feel good but do not generate a return. You have to say no to opportunities that sound exciting but do not have a clear path to profit. This is hard. This requires discipline. But this is exactly what makes you rich. I remember when I was building my education software company. We had a specific project that everyone on the team loved. It was creative, it was innovative, and people were excited about it. However, when I looked at the numbers and when I analyzed the cost versus the potential revenue, it was clear as day that this project was going to lose money. It was not going to move the needle. So, do you know what I did? I killed it. I shut it down. My team was devastated. They thought I was being cruel. They thought I did not care about innovation. But the truth is, I did care. I cared about keeping the company alive. I cared about making payroll. I cared about building something valuable. That meant making the hard choice. That is what this rule does for you. It gives you clarity. It acts as a filter. Every decision becomes simple. Does this make money? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, you do it. If the answer is no, you do not. It does not matter how you feel about it. It does not matter if it is fun or boring. The only question is, does it generate cash? When you live by this principle, and when you really commit to it, you eliminate so much waste from your life. You stop wasting time on things that do not matter. You stop investing energy in projects that go nowhere. You become efficient. You become focused. That focus is what builds wealth. Let me offer another example. I get pitched investment opportunities all the time. People come to me with ideas, business plans, and visions, and they always start with the story. They tell me about their journey, their inspiration, and why they are so passionate about their project. I stop them. I say, I do not care about your story. Show me your financials. Show me your revenue. Show me your customer acquisition cost. Show me your margins. That is all that matters. I am not investing in your feelings. I am investing in your ability to generate a return. If you cannot show me the path to profit, then we are done talking. This might sound cold to you. It might sound harsh. But let me ask you something. Would you rather I lie to you? Would you rather I tell you that following your passion is enough? Would you rather I give you false hope? Because that is what most people do. They tell you what you want to hear. They say, believe in yourself, follow your dreams, stay positive. And you know what happens? You stay broke. You stay stuck. You waste years of your life chasing something that was never going to work. I am not going to do that to you. I am going to tell you the truth. The truth is, if you want to get rich, you have to stop caring about everything except the money. Here is where this gets really powerful. When you adopt this mindset and make money your priority, something interesting happens in your personal life as well. You start valuing your time differently. You start asking, is this worth my time? Does this activity, this relationship, or this commitment move me closer to my financial goals? If it does not, you cut it out. You stop going to events that do not serve you. You stop spending time with people who drain your energy. You stop doing things out of obligation because your time is your most valuable asset. Every hour you waste is an hour you are not building wealth. People do not like hearing this. They say, Kevin, you cannot put a price on everything. You cannot measure relationships by money. I say, you are right. Not everything is about money. However, if you are broke, if you are struggling, and if you are stressed about bills, then yes, everything needs to be about money until you fix that problem. Financial stress destroys everything else in your life. It destroys your relationships. It destroys your health. It destroys your happiness. So do not tell me money doesn't matter. Money matters more than almost anything else. Once you have it, and once you have built real wealth, then you can afford to think about other things. But until then, money has to be your focus. I have built multiple companies. I have made millions of dollars. And I have lost millions of dollars. I have been through every scenario you can imagine. I can tell you from experience that the times I made the most money were the times I was most ruthless about this rule. The times I lost money were the times I let my emotions get in the way. The times I made decisions based on what felt right instead of what the numbers said were the times I failed. Every time I strayed from this rule, I paid the price. Every time I came back to it, I won. So let me ask you a question. Are you ready to commit to this? Are you ready to make money your #1 priority? Because if you are, and if you are truly ready, then your life is about to change. But you have to be all in. You cannot do this halfway. You cannot say, well, I will focus on money most of the time, but I will also follow my passion a little bit. That does not work. You have to choose. If you choose money, if you choose wealth, then you have to be willing to make the sacrifices that come with it. Let me tell you what those sacrifices look like. Because this is the part nobody talks about. This is the part that separates the people who actually get rich from the people who just talk about it. You are going to have to say no to a lot of things. You are going to have to say no to the friends who want to hang out when you need to be working. You are going to have to say no to family members who do not understand why you are always busy. You are going to have to say no to opportunities that look shiny but do not have a real business model behind them. This is where most people fail. They cannot say no. They want to please everyone. They want to keep everyone happy. In the process, they lose focus. They dilute their efforts, and they end up with nothing. I learned early on that every yes to something is a no to something else. When you say yes to a project that does not make money, you are saying no to a project that could. When you say yes to spending your Saturday at a barbecue, you are saying no to spending that time building your business. I am not saying you should never relax. I am not saying you should never see your friends. But what I am saying is that if you are serious about getting rich, if that is truly your goal, then you have to be strategic about how you spend every single hour. Most of your hours need to go toward activities that generate income. Let me break down what this looks like in practice. Every morning when I wake up, I look at my schedule, and I ask myself one question. Which of these activities will make me money? I prioritize those. Everything else gets pushed to the bottom or eliminated entirely. I do not take meetings that do not have a clear financial purpose. I do not invest time in projects that do not have a path to revenue. I do not entertain conversations that are not moving me forward. This might sound extreme, but this is exactly why I have been successful. I protect my time like it is gold, because it is gold. Now let's talk about the people in your life. This is a tough one, but it is critical. You need to evaluate the people around you through this same lens. Are the people in your circle helping you build wealth, or are they holding you back? Are they encouraging you to take risks and build something, or are they telling you to play it safe and get a job? Are they ambitious and driven, or are they comfortable and complacent? Here is the truth. You become like the people you spend time with. If you are surrounded by broke people with broke mindsets, you are going to stay broke. If you are surrounded by successful people who think about money the way I am teaching you to think about it, you are going to become successful. This does not mean you abandon everyone who is not rich, but it does mean you need to be very careful about who has access to your time and your energy. Negative people, people who do not believe in what you are doing, and people who try to talk you out of taking risks are dangerous. They will kill your dreams. They will convince you to settle. Settling is the enemy of wealth. So, you need to create boundaries. You need to protect yourself from the people who do not understand this rule. And you need to surround yourself with people who do. Let me tell you about one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. They confuse activity with progress. They are busy all day long. They are running around. They are in meetings. They are responding to emails. And they are putting out fires. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted. They feel like they worked hard. But when I ask them, "How much money did you make today?" they cannot answer because they were not focused on revenue. They were focused on being busy. Being busy does not make you rich. Making money makes you rich. This is why I am obsessed with metrics. I track everything. I know exactly how much money each of my businesses is generating. I know my profit margins. I know my costs. I know where every dollar is coming from and where it is going. When something is not working, when a product is not selling or a division is not profitable, I make a change immediately. I do not wait. I do not hope it gets better. I act. In business, hope is not a strategy. Action is a strategy. The action you take needs to be based on data, not feelings. So here is what I want you to do starting right now. I want you to audit your life. I want you to look at everything you are doing and ask yourself, is this making me money? Look at your job. Is it paying you what you are worth? If not, it is time to have a conversation with your boss or start looking for something better. Look at your side projects. Are they generating income, or are they just hobbies? If they are hobbies, either turn them into businesses or stop wasting time on them. Look at how you spend your evenings and weekends. Are you investing that time in building something, or are you just consuming, watching TV, scrolling through social media, and wasting hours on things that do not move you forward? I am not saying you can never relax. But I am saying that if you want to get rich, you need to be very intentional about how you spend your time. The vast majority of your time needs to be focused on activities that generate income. This is the discipline I am talking about. This is what separates the people who actually build wealth from the people who just talk about it. Let me tell you what happens when you fully commit to this rule. When you make money your priority, when you cut out all the noise, and when you focus exclusively on activities that generate cash, your life starts to change fast. You start seeing opportunities everywhere. You start making connections that lead to deals. You start building momentum, and that momentum compounds. One good decision leads to another. One successful project funds the next one. Before you know it, you are not just making money, you are building real wealth. But here's the thing. This only works if you stay disciplined. The temptation to go back to your old ways is always there. The temptation to take your foot off the gas, to coast, and to start saying yes to things that do not serve you is always lurking. The moment you lose focus, and the moment you start making decisions based on emotions instead of numbers, you start sliding backward. I have seen it happen to so many people. They have success, they make some money, and then they get comfortable. They stop doing the things that made them successful, and they wonder why their income starts to decline. This is why I am relentless. This is why I never stop. Even now, with all the success I have had, I am still focused on making money. I am still evaluating every opportunity. I am still asking, where is the money? The moment you stop asking that question, and the moment you think you have made it and can relax, is the moment someone else comes along and takes your spot. The market does not care about your past success. The market only cares about what you are doing right now. Let me leave you with this. If you take nothing else from this message, remember this one thing. Money is the only thing that matters in business. Not your passion, not your feelings, and not your story. Money. If you can internalize this rule, and if you can let it guide every decision you make, you will get rich. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. This rule works. It has worked for me, it has worked for every successful entrepreneur I know, and it will work for you. But you have to commit. You have to be willing to make the hard choices. You have to be willing to say no to the things that do not serve you. You have to be willing to focus on money above everything else until you have built the wealth you want. I promise you, if you do this, your life will never be the same. Now, I need you to do something for me. If this message helped you, and if you finally understand what it takes to get rich, then smash that like button right now. Leave me a comment and tell me, are you ready to make money your priority? Are you ready to commit to this rule? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and become a member, because I am building a community of people who think like this. I am building a community of people who understand that getting rich is not about luck or circumstances. It is about discipline and focus. I want you to be part of that community. So subscribe, become a member, and let's build wealth together. Because the world needs more people who understand how money really works. And now, you are one of them.